You know the drill at this point. It's Miners Monday. We're going to do it with a little different flair today. Of course, we're still going to tell you about all the top performers that we can find for you here this week in the Yankee system. But I wanted to kind of deep dive a little bit more on Estevan Florial. Stacey, Sunday, picked up some more hits. Ho-hum. 13-game hitting streak. It is his longest hitting streak in his AAA career. He had a 12-gamer last season. He had a 9-gamer in his first season. He is hitting, and he had a great run in July of last year, an incredible run in July, and he was pretty steady all season long. Here in this past month, in the month of May, he homered in 4 straight games from May 18th to the 23rd, and if you back it up just a hair, he had homers in 4 or 5 games with a 2-home run game on May 16th. The power hasn't been that ridiculous since then, but the power is definitely there, and that's something he's always had. Stacey, I think the bigger conversation here, a lot of Yankees fans, especially those who are tuning in, know who Estevan Florial is, right? Former number 1 prospect, multiple tools. He's quick. He's a great outfielder. He's a good outfielder. I won't say he's a great outfielder. He's a very good outfielder. I like him in the outfield. He's very fast. He has some power. He has strikeout issues. We all know that. But he's only gotten 30 games in the majors, Stacey. 54 at-bats is all we're talking about here. Over 4 seasons. He's 10 for 54 in his major league career. And we kind of talked about this last week. We touched on it during our Fan Mail Friday episode. And I want you to kind of give me your thoughts before I give you mine. Do you think Estevan Florial has been mistreated by the New York Yankees?
I do. I think he's been mistreated. But I don't think it's because they don't like him. I feel like the Yankees choose players to like, and other guys fall by the wayside. And it feels like they're purposely mistreating them, but they might not be purposely mistreating them. It's just they focus all their attention on the shiny toy, and he's not the shiny toy. Does that make sense? Like, that's how I kind of feel about this.
Think about what he's gone through, right? Not just recently, but throughout his career, especially over the last 2 seasons, right? The Yankees sign Franchy Cordero this season. They trade for Greg Allen, and Flo gets DFA'd at one point, put onto waivers at one point this season. He clears waivers and gets outrighted to Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Last season, Matt Carpenter gets signed. Like, all these little things where it's like, in theory, Estevan Florial is the next guy, right, and he should be filling those shoes, but the Yankees pass by him for, like you said, the shiny toy, the new object. And I just feel like he still has not gotten a fair shake. And I just don't know if he's ever going to.
Yeah, it feels like he's not going to. And I feel bad for him because, 30 games and 54 bats is not a lot over 4 seasons. And, you'll see people say, well, he strikes out too much. He does this too much, but he's not really given a chance to do much when he's in the majors. So how do you expect him to, guys can't just come into a game like every 4th game and get a hit, because you have to get your reps and you have to play. So it's unfair to him that when he's up in the majors, he doesn't really play a lot. And I don't know. But yes, I believe they're mistreating him. But again, I don't think it's a malicious thing. It's just the way they operate sometimes.
And to his credit, Flo has been a true professional this whole time. Like, I never saw him complain once last year when it looked like he should have been called up like 20 times. And we're just sitting there watching him. And it feels like there's a rule in Star Wars, in Sith lore, if you could see my Boba Fett shirt on today, if I can get too nerdy. The rule of 2 in the Sith is there can only be 1 master and 1 Padawan, right? And I feel like the master was Miguel Andujar, and Estevan Florial has become the Padawan, unfortunately. It's really, really unfortunate. I think he deserves a fair shot, more than 1 game a week, more than 1 at bat every 3 games when it's garbage time. And it's just, he's got a great head on his shoulder. I think he's a talented ball player. And you know what? Who doesn't strike out as much as Flo? Like, Franchy, they signed Franchy. He struck out at a higher clip than Florial did in AAA.
Yeah.
So That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let us know. How do you feel about Florial? Do you think he deserves a chance this season? I know it's a little tough now, especially with Stanton back. But let's be real. Left field is still open.
Yeah.
Left field is completely open. Whoever's hitting is taking left field. Again, we're going to talk about Oswald Peraza, but I'm worried that he might fall down the same path. Unfortunately, Florial becomes the master, and then Peraza becomes the Padawan.
The Padawan.
To get real with it again. Anyway, wanted to talk about one great performer this week in the Yankee system, Tyler Hardman. It's not really just this week, but he had one big moment on Thursday night. The Somerset Patriots were trailing 7-0 by the fourth inning. Tyler Hardman, a grand slam for a 7-run comeback. Ended up being an 8-7 ball game after that grand slam on 2 outs and 2 strikes, no less. Hardman has had an interesting trajectory. He leads this team right now with 11 homers. He ended up homering in 3 straight games, by the way, just ho-hum. After the grand slam, he had 5 RBIs in that game. He had 5 RBIs in a game last week against Reading, which is a career high for him. And he has hits in 8 of his last 11 games. And again, I kind of said he kind of has a weird trajectory. The power just kind of came last season. His power really blossomed last season with Hudson Valley. And then he got like a very, very small, he only played 4 games with Somerset last season at the end of the year, and then ended up starting with Somerset this year. And, he's had some mixed results, let's be real, but he's not too dissimilar than a lot of players in this age of baseball where it's just homer or bust. And Tyler Hardman is an interesting case because he pushes that boundary of a lot of guys right now. Kind of talking about Florial. I don't think they have the same type of play style or anything like that, but where you go, okay, we're getting the power, but we have to give up something in return for that. And a lot of times for these guys, it's strikeouts, right? And that's the thing for Hardman, and as it is for a lot of power hitters now. What is the leash and what's the trajectory and how do they develop Tyler Hardman is something that I'm really, really curious. And he's a name that just kind of busted onto the small niche Yankee scene last season. And I'm curious to see how he continues to develop. He had a pretty rough April, but he's playing better over May and here into June. So very curious to see how Tyler Hardman's season continues to play out. If it's anything like last year, I mean, he's already halfway to his home run total. So from last season. So 11 bombs already this season is an interesting and encouraging sign. It's just getting the other things to go the right way. Hey, I always tell you guys to drop in the comments which minor league players you want to hear about. And I am reading your comments. A lot of you are asking about Jared Cerna. Jared Cerna, a young prospect playing for the Hudson Valley or not for the Tampa Tarpons right now. We're going to talk about Jared Cerna later on this week, hopefully, so long as nothing crazy happens. We have some off days here throughout the next couple of weeks, so I want to take a little more time to talk about Jared Cerna, specifically not on a Minors Monday. So make sure you hit subscribe, and we will talk about him later on this week. Hey, thanks so much for checking out Minors Monday. Here on Locked On Yankees, we do this every single Monday where we check out the top performers in the Yankees system throughout this entire season. Of course, if you're new here, we also do regular Yankees coverage Monday through Friday. Every single day, we have Yankees coverage here on Locked On Yankees. So hit subscribe if you like content like this, and you'll always be able to hang out with Stacy and myself.